Hello, you're back with Bravo. This is playing Satisfactory, episode 5. In this showcase I'm going to be going over my oil processing facility and how I've set it up. I'm also going to do some changes and go through that construction in this video. That way I can include a detailed description on how I lay everything out, because in my last few videos I was sort of cutting through the building process, which I have done here, but it cuts out a lot of time and I can just explain what I've done. So I thought if I correct the structure how I want it, I can go through how I've laid it all out. I'm also going to go through my main base and everything I've done so far in the game. So let's jump down. Let's have a look at what I have got set up for now and what I want to change. So it's quite a large facility. It's bringing in 3 oil nodes. 2 of them are impure and 1's normal, so it's not a lot of oil. But I want to go and get some more nodes, which I'm going to do now once I go through a quick overview of this oil facility here. So I'm going to die. Oh, borderline. So I have my refineries here, so the oil comes in on the lower deck, and I'll just jump down there and go through that. Here it comes down this pipe here, which I'll change to a Mark II once I bring in the other oil nodes. So the oil actually wasn't far from my base, and in my last episode I said I'm going to have to explore for it. Now I did do a bit exploring. As you can see here, here's the main base up here in the northern forest area, just south of the Coral Cove. There's 3 oil nodes just here north of the base, and then there's I think another 3, maybe 2 out here just to the right. So I'm going to bring all that to this facility and start working on processing all that. Over here to the left I have uranium node. Obviously I'm not even close to nuclear yet, but I thought I found it, I might as well start bringing it down because it's up really high. I've gotten a bunch of more hard drives. There are all the ticks on the map here. Went out to the desert a little bit. That's mostly my exploration. I didn't really mark out many nodes except for these 3 quartz over here. There was a sulfur node here. Just because I'm not going to be looking at bringing any more nodes right now until I start with trains. I'll probably set up a big facility out in the desert producing raw items that I need, and then I'll train that back to this base sort of along this area here, along this channel. So my oil comes in underneath and then it comes up through the floor here. So I've got to go through the floor and underneath here. So I've built it up on these stilts just so I can come straight in off this here, off this ground level here, and down in underneath. I thought I'd try this. I'm not a big fan of it. I should have just gone 2 or 3 high, but I've just gone 1, and you can't get your pipes over your belts without it clipping. So I wasn't a fan of that, but I've worked with it. And on my next oil facility, if I play Satisfactory through again, I'll definitely go with a different setup on that. But it's working well. All my pipeline is underneath here, and all my belts. So this side's rubber going down, and then the heavy oil residue, I believe it's called. Heavy oil residue, yep, sorry, is pumped underneath and across to here, where it feeds along and up to the refineries, which turns heavy oil residue into fuel, and fuel gets put into the fuel generator. So I have a buffer tank here sort of at the end of the line so I can add more refineries on. As you can see, it's going down very slowly. That's because my plastic backed up. So with plastics backing up, that's 4 refineries that weren't in action. So I was only producing rubber, which was in turn only producing about 40 heavy oil residue per minute instead of the 40 plus 40, the normal 80. Yes, that's 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Yes, 80 oil residue, which goes over into this refinery. As you can see, it uses 90 because I've got it overclocked at 150%. It's giving 60 fuel per minute, which goes into these generators, and they're using 12 meters cubed per minute. So the ratios are a bit off, but that's okay because I'm going to change it. So these fuel generators, I'm going to move up onto the top deck and then build a roof around them. I've built them like this because I think it looks quite industrial, having the floor cut out like that and having the stacks go up through the floor. And I want to carry that ventilation right through to the upper deck where I'm going to have the fuel generators. Got these catwalks. Catwalks are a bit of a pain. I don't know, I don't really like them very much. If you can get them set up, they are quite nice, but trying to line them up with the buildings is a little frustrating. So you could put this staircase off center to one side like that. Okay. And I'll just delete that to show you. And then, architecture here. I've gone through and unlocked quite a bit. You could put a railing here. But I don't really want a railing here. I'd rather have a half one of these here, if that makes sense. And it's just sort of annoying, like, you have to give up one design structure just to make it look somewhat okay, so but that's my only gripe with them. Otherwise they're quite nice to sort of have around. I like that they are half size of a foundation, so if you were to put down foundation, as you can see, they're about half the size. It's easier to sort of say here with the stairs, so you could put another staircase. I can't show you next to it. So, there we go. Yeah, so 2 catwalks is 1 foundation, and I kind of like that because when I show you my main base, you'll see where I've got some ores coming up in the walkway. I've just run a catwalk around them. So I'll give you a quick overview of how I lay it out, how I start to build this. I started from this back corner here. I gave it a walkway the entire way around, and it was actually only wide enough to fit one refinery lawn. So this was the original wall here and that wall, and it just was definitely not big enough. I sort of knew it wasn't going to be big enough, but that's how I started it out. I would put these foundations right across to here because I know that that's a refinery plus the pipe work plus a wall and a walkway all the way around. Okay, and then lengthways I assumed I'm going to need, like, I worked off how many oil nodes I have, so I go 4 and then plus probably another 4 and then maybe a few extra foundations and then plus a walkway. As you can see, I've got 2 walkways here, which I can extend that out to here, but I've just gone back a bit because obviously these belts only come to this spot, so if I was to have a refinery right on top, it would get a bit difficult to run my mergers underneath here as well as my pipe work with the buffer, but I'm sure I could just pull it apart and remake it. But that's how I sort of set out for these refineries. I don't build the roof on at all. I don't even think about that when I'm doing this, just because I want to build it to the stacks. Same as this side, I wanted to run the catwalk and then do this entire space. So once I put one refinery down, I went, okay, this one will be plastics. Now I want to look at doing the rubber. So I allowed an even space across here, did the pipe work, and then the refinery plus the pipe work out. Well, sorry, this is the intake, but you get my idea. And then I allow a wall and then a walkway. So then my wall went from my original outline of my structure went from here to here. And then I thought, well, what do I do with the heavy oil residue after I refine that? So I had the refinery down this end, and it was intake and heavy oil residue, and then outputting fuel. And then I had to try and get my fuel from here over to there, and it was trying to cross those belts underneath, like I was showing you. And I just can't, I just don't want to run the pipe through the belt. It'll just clip, it'll be ugly. I don't want to do that. So I thought, okay, I need to transport the heavy oil residue elsewhere. So I thought, okay, we'll go underneath, we'll bring it up, we'll build another whole section over here for heavy oil residue. And I've only got one, I only need one refinery, and even if I double my refineries over there, I'll only need 2 for heavy oil residue. Does that make sense? So I could probably keep these generators here, but I'm going to need more generators, because if I double this, at the moment I need 4 generators and I'm running 3, which means if I double I'll need 8 generators, possibly 9, depends on my ratios, which I haven't really looked at right now. But I need a space for 9 generators, and I'm just going to burn the fuel and probably package it as well. I haven't really looked into that yet, so I want to do that in this episode as well. But going upstairs, I was considering putting the generators on this deck. Yeah. I'm working out my size. There's also over this side, so I could run generators down here, generators down here, and then build my roof in to allow for like ventilation and for the stacks of the fuel generators to go through the roof, like I did with the coal generators over there. So, and I really like that factory sort of design, and that's what I was going to try to incorporate into my oil facility, oil processing facility. So let's run over and see these other oil nodes, see what the locations are like, and I'll start running that pipe work back. So as you can see, I have the 2 impure here. Impure, yep, which is 60 meters cubed per minute. Then I have a normal variant down here, which would be giving me 120 meters cubed per minute. No, that's full because the plastic's full. Yeah. Okay. Yep. 120. So these can be overclocked, of course, but I want to get these other oil nodes and then expand that out. I believe they're over, yeah, right, 200 meters, sweet. So there's only one. Okay. I thought there was more than that, but so I was wrong. Here it is here. Please be pure. Oh, good. Sorry, I think a pure oil node, I'm not 100%, but 240 per minute. Let's put it down and find out. Yes, 240 per minute. So that's more than what I'm getting in now. I'm at 120 plus 120. I'm at 240. So this is exact. This is going to double. This one node will double what I have, which is perfect. So I want to run Mark 1 belt because it's 240 meters cubed. I'll just run a Mark 1 pipe, back the whole way. I usually go one up so I can walk underneath it. Oh sorry, two up so I can walk underneath it. So when I do this next pipe, I'll go two. And so when I run around I don't have to try and jump over my pipes. So my base is over that way. So I run the pipe probably straight across there the way I came. Or did I come through that? Let's just double check. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll pop it forward, and when I come back this pipe work will be back at the base, and I'll go through doubling the size of my refineries. Right back. And we're back. So I've upgraded all my line to Mark II pipe. So now I'm just going to go through and do my refineries. So I'll probably want another, with it being double I do want probably more plastic, but I might go, what else can we make with oil? Let's put a refinery down and just have a look. So oil can go straight to fuel and polymer resin. Okay, polymer resins here with water and polymer resin you can make plastic or rubber. There's also petroleum coke from the heavy oil residue, but I probably just want to make plastic and rubber. I use quite a lot of plastic in the structures, so I'll show you down here. Rubber, 15 rubber. Per minute. Let's build a... Ah, no plastics. Let's jump downstairs and grab some plastics. Where are they? Here they are. $50, yep, that'll do. Just want to put one down, so then I know. It might tell me how many. I think it tells you how many per minute it needs to build it. So here we are, module engine. 15 rubber per minute. Oh, it builds. Sorry, it builds one of these per minute, so 15. Because some recipes, right? So computers, let's say, say 2.5 per minute. So this is one computer, 9 cable, but it's actually 22.5 per minute because it builds 2.5 of them per minute. Does that make sense? Like, so, it might say, oh, it needs 52 screws to build one computer. But because it builds 2.5 per minute, I need 130 screws per minute. So when you're setting up your manufacturers, assemblers, and constructors for ratios, it's best to look at the per minute, not just what it needs to build it, because most buildings can build more than one per minute. But for module engine, it's 15 per minute. So I'm already making 40 per minute. So if I doubled, I'd be making 80 per minute. So that's one thing. Alternate Caterium computers, that's a good alternate. 3.75 per minute, as long as you've got the quick wire. I've also unlocked another circuit board recipe, so that'll be in assembler. As you can see here, you got circuit boards, which is plastic and rolled sheet. The plastics is the hard thing for this. This is why I'm trying to upgrade my oil, but because this episode's about oil, that's why I'm doubling it. But I've also got this one. This is what I really like, the silicon circuit board. So it uses the silica and copper sheet instead of plastic. So from quartz crystal, you can make, you know, pure, sorry, like, yeah, your quartz crystal you can make pure, what was it? So yeah, so from raw quartz you can make quartz crystal and silica. So I usually set up a bunch of these and feed that into the sink for points. With the silica I have just aside, and I've set that up aside so purely because I want that alternate recipe, which is this alternate recipe, the circuit boards, 12.5 per minute instead of 7.5 per minute, and you're not using plastic. Okay, now the reason I wanted those is because when you get to, you know, computers, these need not only 45 plastic per minute, which you're already putting into circuit boards, you need 45 plastic per minute for this, plus 25 per minute circuit boards. So computers are quite hard to make, especially when you've only got 2 impure nodes and 1 normal, right? Like, I'm making I'm making 80 plastic per minute. This thing needs 45, and then I need 10 circuit boards, right? So off a normal recipe for a circuit board, these need 30 plastic per minute. So I'm making 7, I'm not even making one of these per minute, like, anyways, it's just difficult. So that's why I want to double my oil. That's why I wanted the alternate recipe for circuit boards. So let's get back to the original concept, which was the original idea, which was doing oil processing. So what I'm trying to work out is, right, how much I need to double, because I could just double it and go 4 rubber, 8 silicon, or I might go, sorry, not silicon, plastic, or I could go 7 plastic and 5 rubber, which makes a lot more sense to me. I might do that because these are making 20 rubber and these make 20 plastic, but I need more plastic than I do rubber. But I also don't want to go 8 plastic and 4 rubber and then I end up needing more rubber. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with 7. And we're out of engines. Okay. So I run over to my base. I built this bridge here. I'll show you what I've done while I run back and get more items to finish building. Down here the belts run along this bridge I built, all the way over to that main column that goes up. The glass is sort of in the way, really. There it is. So my little bridge goes across, goes into this little structure I built on the side of my ramps. Okay, and I just run across the top through this gate. I haven't set up the tube to go to the oil. I've just got it going all the way down the bottom, so I just jump down here, go back through it, back up the top. Here we are. So I've gone along, put the coated concrete down. It just looks fantastic. So the plastic and the rubber come up. I have a third line here. I just built it there. I don't know what I want to put on it yet, but I'm sure I'm going to put something on it. And they get sent up, and like I said before, obviously I'm not running this inside these areas I've designated for my constructors. It's going to run up in my pathway. So I'll go upstairs and show you really quick. So nothing on this level has changed, my first level. I've just gone through and upgraded my belts and my elevators. Elevators, what are they called? conveyor lifts, yeah, elevators, conveyor lifts. So as you can see, I've just taken out the concrete, put this catwalk in because it's only half the width, and then put the railing around it. And I kind of wish they did the catwalk in concrete purely for this reason. Now I've got this nice sort of coated concrete and then a metal catwalk. It's not terrible looking, it does its job. If I really was upset about it, I could run it, like I could delete this out and put the catwalk underneath the constructor and then have them coming up here. But I just thought I'll show you when we go upstairs why I've sort of done it like that. On this level over the back, okay, I'm just up to my Caterium smelting line, and then I'm just sending all the excess from afterwards making these Caterium wire. The ingots go straight up these elevators with the black powder and the quartz crystal. So I'm not putting the silica into it, and this is why I've set this up here. I set the silica up here purely so I can then build those circuits upstairs, and I'll show you what that is when I go up there. Over here I automated nobelisks just cause, why not? And I've obviously made way too many, and I'm going to show you a little trick that a friend of mine showed me. He doesn't even really play the game, like he only plays it with me when I visit him. He's only got probably 10 hours in, and he told me the trick about the storage, and it just blew my mind. I never thought of it before, like no one's commented onto about it. Other friends I have that play the game never said anything yet. My friend just comes along and goes, oh, why don't you just do this? So I'll show you his little trick upstairs when I head up there. So you can see all the belts are going around the ceiling, and I do like it like that. And I keep the concrete on the inside of normal concrete in these designated areas, and then I've got the coated concrete in my walkways. Looks a bit odd on the ceiling, like you're these spaces where there's no coated concrete and then you have them here. But then that also helps me know from downstairs, I know where the walkways are upstairs. So that's why I kind of am not upset about that. Like, I'm happy with that. Like, I know that that's a walkway there, so if I was going to put an elevator up, or a conveyor lift, sorry, I know roughly from this level where I can feed that up to. So this is upstairs. This is where my rubber and my plastic come in. So again, I do the walkway, I go all the way up, and then come back down into storage here, rather than storing them over there like I did with the steel factory. I still have them stored at the factory, and then I come back here on a belt. So if I want to get encased, like encased steel beams or pipes or get steel beams, I have to go back to the factory, pick up a whole bunch and come back. And I will change that later on, but for now it's not too bad. And have them splitting off here, going across here, and this is my circuit board factory. So it's not exactly ratioed. It's not a big deal. It's ratioed to the copper sheet. Okay, so I make enough copper sheet here to feed these 4 assemblers. And 4 assemblers it's that many. So 15, so 30. Making 30 circuit boards a minute. And it's not enough for my computer factory, but that's why I've got the alternate recipe for silica now. Instead of using plastic, I can use a silica. So I had a copper node over near the coal power plant factory over the far side there, so you can see it down there. That's copper. Brings it all the way up into here. These furnace it all straight into ingots, and then ingots are all going into copper sheet. That copper sheet feeds into those assemblers along with the plastic coming up from over there. Then these circuit boards go underneath the floor and across to my computers. So what I was saying about the storage, my friend said, why don't you just put another item in its place, right? And I thought, as soon as he said it, I just thought, oh man, of course, that's the most simplest trick. So in my early videos you would have heard me carrying on about you can't limit how much gets stored. So as you can see here, I've just put one concrete in each space. I had already stored this many, that's why it stopped there. Otherwise, I would have stopped this onto one row, you know, and just had, you know, that top row stored of circuit boards. And like, oh man, that would have saved me so much time and so much, you know, material. Like in here, you can see I've done it, and I've stocked that many. I would have just done the same thing, one row. Like, who wants a full container of that? You know, it's just. Computers are now backed up, and that's because again I've gone and blocked it off to the one row, and I'd already stored this many computers. Like, that's a lot of computers just to have on storage. Like, this isn't even a buffer. Like, you've seen in my other videos. So I just run a splitter, or a lift straight off the splitters here, feeding into my other manufacturers or straight into other products. So anyway, like, he sort of blew my mind when he said that. I said, oh my god, that makes total sense. I'll just put one concrete in each space, and then that's the space it doesn't use up to store. Simple. Got an alternate recipe here for screws. It's a steel screw, 1 beam to 52 screws, so 5 BMs per minute to 260 screws per minute. That I just fed that one constructor straight into 2 computer manufacturers, and that's plenty. You know, these are using 130. Like, do the math, right? 130, 260. This thing's making 260 per minute. So that one constructor is perfectly ratioed to feeding these 2 manufacturers of computers. Okay, so if I want to split that onto other products, I'll just put another constructor in, which is these over here, my heavy modular frames. Okay, and I've got another recipe for those. I think I did. Oh no, I didn't. Sorry, I thought I did. I must have chosen a different one. I got this one, silicon. So you've got your high-speed connectors which use cable, right? But then you've got this one that uses just silica. So if I'm going to do my circuit boards for the silica, you know, and then whatever's left in the silica, put into an alternate recipe for these. So both use the what's this, 3 per minute, 3 circuit boards per minute. What's the original? 3.75. 3.75, okay. I'll have to look into that more. Anyways, so I need some more motors. So anyways, this is this level. This is it. Building computers, building that. I just want to do my oil processing, and then after this episode I'm going to look at setting up more manufacturers for my phase 3 of my space elevator, which is those modular engines and the adaptive control unit. So I'll set up for these, and I'll set up for the high speed connections in my next episode, and I'll go through that. Down over this back corner I decided to put the sink all the way at the top, so it's intaking the leftover rubber and plastic. Got the black powder, the quartz crystal, and the Caterium ingots. This is now at 18,000 points per minute, so I'm at 20 now. I've nearly bought everything in the store, so I'm just going to leave that going because that's actually helping my fuel generators keep stocked up with fuel, because if the plastic and rubber does not back up, then it'll keep producing the items and feed them into the sink, and then I'm not going to have a problem with the heavy oil residue not slowing down, and then that won't slow down the fuel processing, and then I won't have enough fuel going into the generators. So now I can build more generators, keep them fully stocked with fuel, because the plastic and the rubber, the excess, is going to go to the sink. And I can just turn that off later if I don't have enough, but I want to try and keep it that way because I want the fuel generators producing the power for the factory. So should have enough. What are the fuel generators? Yeah, I might just top up on Caterium wire and those heavy blocks while I'm here, why not? What's this one? The Caterium wire, maybe get some more rubber. Rubber for that, yep. Sorry, Caterium wires on the next level up. Down the back here. So I did go through and put my coated concrete all the way around. I just think it looks so good. Once I had plastic, that's what I did. I went through and did that. I should actually... I'll just swap out. It's too much Caterium wire, right? Like, why do I need that much Caterium wire, you know? Anyway, is what it is. Let's get over and do that fuel processing. Set up those refineries. So now you've seen my layout of my main factory. I haven't really done anything else outside of here. I've finished my steel factory. I put a roof on it, put a couple steel beams through it. It looks really nice. So yeah, I just drop down like that, run across here to my oil facility. Okay, I need one more. So what I'll do is, I'll just show you how I set up these, okay, and then I might pop it forward. So these are going to be plastic, so you can just copy settings. You can also look at the building and go Control C, so Control V. I'll just Control V or more, but you can also just look at a building and click Control C, and it will copy what recipe that has on it. So if I was to put that here, go look at the building, Control C, settings copied, Control V, and this one's set up for rubber. Okay. So I wanted, was it 5 of these and 7 of them? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one more of these. Now I'll just confirm. Sorry, Control V. So 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus 7 is 12. So 30. Oh, sorry, it's just 30 as well. 30, okay. So 30 times 12. It's 360, and I have one pure, which is 240, plus another 240, which is 480. 60 plus 60 plus 120, 240 plus that pure node, which is 240, 480. Okay, so I must have been running these miscalculated from the beginning. There you go. I've just found something out. So I must have done my math wrong on my original build. So 30 right on rubber, 30 on plastic, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 7 is 12. 30 times 12 is 360. It's 480 divided by 30. 480 divided by 30 is 16. Wow, okay. So I can add in another. Oh god, what is that? 16, 12, 4. And another 4. Wow. 1, 2. Yeah. So I think now I'm gonna have to move this fluid buffer. Wow, that's a lot of oil. It's gonna be a lot of fuel generators, to be honest. Alright, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop it forward here, okay, and then I'll come back just before I set up my fuel generators once and show you how I've got these set up and the heavy oil residue refinery set up, and I'll just explain my ratios there and make sure that they're correct. But for that, I'll be right back. And here we are. So I went ahead and completed the entire structure, mainly because I was almost at an hour on the video. So I just wanted to finish it off and then go through and explain what I've done and show you what I've done. So I went through and did the ratios, and it was 16 refineries, rubber and plastic, and then the heavy oil residue is converted into fuel. That fuel's pumped underneath here into this tank, which is then pumped up there to my power generators. Fuel generator, sorry. I built this here packager, just using the excess fuel, packaging it here, and mainly because I got the jetpack. So that's just to help me there. Downstairs, I just run the plastic off the splitter here, straight over the rubber, straight across, and then up here into the packager, and I make the empty canisters here, and then that transfers straight into the packager. So I have the heavy oil residue here going down to these refineries. The fuel comes out here, comes along into this buffer, and that goes up the top. I'll go upstairs and show you that. I never had this ramp here. I used to run down there and go up, but I just built this because now it's a lot easier. So I have 5 fuel generators here running at 250%. So I still have a bit of fuel left over. So I could build another, say maybe 2 or 3 fuel generators running at 250%. I just haven't done that yet because my plastic and rubber are backing up at the sink, and I could speed that up, but or build another sink. I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm just going to let it sort of back up a little. I'm producing plenty of power. I'm at 303 megawatt. Each one. So I've got those up through that roof, venting out into the outside, and I have these ventilation here with the frame above it. Same here and over here. I've got a big space here that I can fill with either fuel generators or whatever other refineries I may need. And I just put these structural beams in to make it look like, you know, it's been held up structurally. Okay, so I'll end the episode here. If you have any questions or comments on my build process, please make the comments and I'll try and rectify those. Sorry I didn't go into any more detail on the actual build, otherwise it would have been a 2-hour video. I hope I explained it enough, and please like and subscribe, and I'll be releasing more episodes to come. Thank you.